Hi there, this is Sally Morgan, physical therapist, craniosacral therapist, and Tellington T-Touch practitioner for animals and people. And today we're going to finish our discussions with Tristan. He's a Corgi, and this is an episode of Conversations with a Corgi. And today we're going to talk about dog sounds and what they mean. We're continuing in our series on this. Oh wow, it's one of the few days you can actually see my agility equipment in the backyard. Anyway, we're going to talk about yelping today, which is a pretty short topic because yelping nearly always means one thing: I'm in pain. And a lot of us are familiar with the yelp from our dog, like if two dogs are playing and suddenly one lets out a "row," it's a surprise, loud, high-pitched, short yelp. And we are often hearing this when dogs are playing and they get a little rough. Often with a puppy, they'll yelp sometimes when they're playing with another dog, and the other dog gives them a little bite to say, enough of that, young man, don't overbite me because I am a dog. Dogs also can yelp in surprise when they're playing, like if they're rolling and tussling around with another dog and then they bash into the fence or something like that. They'll let out another little yelp out of surprise. People sometimes ask, does my dog yelp for no reason? That's not the case. A yelp is almost always a quick reaction to something that's going on that your dog finds very uncomfortable. And often people will talk about, oh, the kid was petting the dog and he yelped. Well, as we all know, kids don't pet very gently, and they're not very aware of dogs' sensitive areas and less sensitive areas. Certainly an old arthritic dog, many places could be highly sensitive, and so the dog will yelp. So always use a yelp as a warning sign that your dog is not comfortable, that he might have pain. And especially, one of the times I've heard dogs yelp is when you're walking in the winter and there might be salt on the side of the road and they seem okay. You're going for a short walk, just up to pee, whatever. And then he starts yelping and limping. Often that will happen from the salt getting built up in their paws, or even a salt crystal wedging between the pads of the paw, and then the dog is yelping when he's walking. This is a sign that you need to do something. When your dog is yelping, he needs help. And I think it's no coincidence that the word yelp sounds like the word help because your dog needs your attention if he's yelping. And certainly with puppies, when they're playing and you hear one yelp, that's time to break it up. Give everybody a little time out and think about it a little bit. Older dogs, sometimes that's just like a little warning, and then they'll go back to playing without you having to break it up. But with puppies, you have to be really careful when they're yelping because not only are they hurt physically, but they can be hurt emotionally and mentally. And when, I think you've heard me talk about this before, when the two weaners were here and the baby Corgi, one of the dachshunds cornered the baby Corgi, and he hadn't been bitten or anything, but he was terrified because the dachshund was coming after him. And boy, that must be how a badger feels when a dachshund goes down a hole. Where are you going to go? And that thing is all teeth and it's skinny and it can come after you. So there's a case where the yelp was not from physical pain, but from emotional pain. So yelping for your dog is a sign that there's a problem and that you need to address it. And it's most often from pain, sometimes for surprise, and that's less common. And it can be a way to communicate distress to other dogs in their group as well. If they're wrestling let's say 10 dogs in the yard and they're wrestling with one dog, that yelp also goes out to the other dogs in the group to know, oh, playing with this guy over here, you got to be careful because he plays a little rough. So, your dog is not ever yelping for no reason, and some people think they do that. Now, there's a different kind of sound that's similar to a yelp that they make when they're sleeping. We used to say they were dreaming of catching bunnies, and you'll see the little pads moving, and you hear this little roof, 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 roof. Right, Biss? That's generally a sleeping bark. That is not a yelp. A yelp is a high-pitched, loud, short noise, and that can be really scary for your dog. When they're emitting that sound, there's something going on that they're not happy about. So think about that next time you have your dog playing in a group and you hear one of them yelping. You might need to break up the fight or the wrestling and try to get your dog into a more comfortable place and help him recover emotionally from whatever has been going on. Some people confuse yelping with whimpering. Whimpering is more of a quiet sound, but it's and sometimes they'll whimper when they're in pain. Like my mom's dog is really old and has really bad arthritis because she was super athletic when she was younger. And when she gets up, she kind of whimpers. It's more of a quiet sound, expressing pain as well, but it can also express excitement. So just think about yelping as a sound that your dog is asking for help. And help him out. See what he needs. See what's hurting on him. Right, Biscuit? And hopefully it's just a momentary thing, like the baby Corgi being afraid of the dachshunds. I think we'll be back tomorrow for another episode of Conversations with a Corgi. It is so unpredictable. I'm sorry. I have no way to predict whether I'm going to be available. I have way too much going on in my life right now. I had a friend here for a few days that made it impossible to do this. And I'm working a lot at my educator job next week. I have 3 days doing that. And then my yoga schedule has been in great flux. There's a lot going on with that. So anyway, we will be back when we can be. And tomorrow might be one of those days. And we're going to continue through our series on why dogs make the sounds that they make. Thanks for joining us today for this episode of Conversations with a Corgi. Stay warm with your dog. We're having another cold spell come through. I can't believe our normal high is 50 and it's been like 35, which feels balmy after 25. But, you know, keep your pets warm. A scarf can help, right, Tristan? But also 2 layers of Corgi hair. That's what keeps you warm. Okay, we'll see you guys soon. Everybody have a great day. Thanks for joining us.